boxing fans. Welcome to the brand new boxing discussion show. We search out a lot of boxing, latest news, views and gossip from the boxing world. We pull no punches. Press the button, subscribe.
Fight fans, welcome, and I've got a special guest with me today for my first interview, ex-pro boxer from my neck of the woods, Chris Truman. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm very good, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. You're a privilege because
How are
you're my
you?
very first interview you are.
No, I'm pleased. I'm pleased to be on.
No worries. How am I? Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Been hard at graft today in the snow, a bit like yourself, but we crack on with this interview. I'm just very intrigued to get to the bottom and the insight in how pro boxing, being a pro boxer is.
Yeah.
So how did you start in boxing?
So I started at 15, just when I was in my last year of school. And, you know, I wasn't very good at school, like, you know, and I always had this like motivation inside me. Still got it now, and like I was a small lad in school, like, you know. I still am small, but you know, probably used to feel a little bit maybe intimidated by the bigger lads and that, and so I was with like a few of my mates around the area. You know, we all used to hang around with each other, and we all decided to get down the boxing gym, and we went for one day, and all my mates quit. They did. They wouldn't go back the next day, and I carried on and just started from there, mate. Yeah.
That shows your test of character then, to be able to keep going back.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah.
So, you know, like you say, you started at like 15. Like,
yeah,
I'm very interested to know like the brutality of boxing, the training, the weight cuts. Can you give us a bit of an insight into it all? How it all worked out for you in that way?
Yeah. So, like, you know, you start as an amateur, and you don't know what to expect really. You just you know, everyone who goes through the boxing door wants to be a world champion, like, you know. And so when I started in the amateurs, you know, you just jump in with everyone else, and you're nothing like special, you know. You just got to learn to skip and do lots of boring technique, you know, for months and months, well, years, and that, just practice on your technique, and then you'll have your, like, after like probably 7 months of training, I had my first fight, and I remember having my first fight, and I didn't really have to worry about the weight, you know, your first fights and that.
Yeah.
And I remember going out, and everything that I learned in the gym just all went out the window in my first fight, and I just went out, and I was just I must have threw 100 punches in one round, really? And I blew myself out in one round. Yeah,
but white collar style.
Yeah, it just went for it, mate. Like, you know, and I think it took me a few fights to you know, start boxing like when you're doing training. Like, you know, because you can train and do well, and then get in a fight and it all goes out the window.
Yeah.
And then, I lost a few of my first amateur fights, and obviously I used to go to school and that, and some people, like, you know, take the mick out of me as well because I lost my fights and that. So that wasn't really nice, but I just thought I'm going to stick to it and turn things around, like, you know. And I did. I won about 10 fights in a row as an amateur, and things started going well. I was always a tough, durable lad, and my amateur coach wanted to put me in the championships, and that he'd put me up against some like ex-national champions and that, but he didn't tell me that I was boxing them, like, you know, because I'd have probably shit myself and, you know. But yeah, you know, the weight cut started in the amateurs, like, you know. I used to be like little bit of chubby lad, like, and my amateur coach would say, you know, you've got to make this weight. He'd weigh us and he'd say, for this fight, you have to lose a few pounds. So what I'd do is I'd just cut out a meal in the day, like a few sandwiches or something. You know, we used to just eat shit as kids and that. And I'd make the weight. It was quite easy. But then as you progress, the weight gets harder, like, you know, and you're growing up, you're getting bigger, but your coaches still want you at that same weight when you was a kid. Which now I'm out of the sport, I realise I should have grown into my own natural weight. But I mean, the amateurs is good, like, because your coaches, they do care about, you know, they care about the boxers. But then I've noticed when you go into the pros, the coaches do care about you, but it's a business as well. So, you know, it's more about the money. Say if I got hurt in the amateurs, my coach would be calling me up, seeing how I am. But in the pros, like, you know, I've had my jaw broken and that, like, in 3 places. I went straight to the hospital, got dropped off there. I never had one call to see how I was, how I was doing. Yeah, I never had one call. And I did tell my pro coach that it's going to take 3 months for my jaw to heal and I'll be able to box again.
Yeah.
And as soon as 3 months was up, he called me and said, do you want to box again? So, like, you know, that made my mind up just to knock it on the head, like, you know, after having my jaw broke.
Yeah. That's a really, really interesting insight to things, that is. It's just to listen to that. It's just the brutality of the sport at times is so bad, isn't it? Especially, like you say, from moving to the amateur to the pro game. So, you know, when you was pro, am I right in thinking you was working as well, doing a part-time, full-time job?
Yeah, I was working full-time, and, you know, it's every kid's dream, like, to not work and just box. I had mates who were like just, you know, boxing and never had to work. And I know that if I had that life, then I would have 100% dedicated myself even more to boxing. You know, I'd have been training, sleeping, and that. But with work, losing weight, it was a killer, mate. It's tough. It's actually tougher to work full time and fight as well. Like some weeks.
I can well imagine. It just sounds
Yeah.
brutal. I mean, when I look at it, like, obviously I you know, I've got a full-time job, but to think that I could work a full-time job and do a boxing career as well just sounds unbelievable, to be honest.
I mean, some weeks I'd be working, you know, the week of your fight and that, like, you know, and then I had my daughter full time as well, like, for at a time in my life. I wasn't with the mother, so my daughter as well, like, you know, it's quite tough. But I mean, if you want to make it, you gotta be willing to, you know, go for all that stuff, working, looking after your kid and that. Weight cut.
It sounds absolutely brutal. I mean, my next question, I feel a bit bad asking this question, really, but I was going to ask, do you actually, for the life you've just told me you had, I feel bad asking the question, do you have any regrets in your boxing career? Is there anything you massively regret?
You know what? When I was boxing and towards the end of it, to be honest with you, I started losing the love for the sport. When I loved it, like, I regretted being too nice to people and taking other people's advice who didn't know what they were talking about. Some people didn't know what they were talking about, and I would listen to them. Or, you know, people would give me a supplement to try for when I had a big fight coming up, like, and it didn't go well with me, and I'd trust these people. Do you know what I mean? But then, say if you lost the fight, you wouldn't hear nothing from the people. You know what I mean? Everyone wants to be on your side when you got a fight coming up. Everyone wants to, like, you know, talk to you and that. And as soon as that
Yeah.
fight's over, if you lose, mate, you're on your own. You've only got your family and that, like, you know, we really care about you, and your close friends and that.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at some of your opponents earlier, and I remember watching particularly one of those fights on Sky Sports a few years ago. But you've been in the ring with the likes of Sam Maxwell, O'Hara Davis, Lenny Dawes,
Yeah,
Conor
yeah,
Benn, which we'll come to in a bit.
yeah.
Who would you say was your toughest opponent in your pro career?
You know, if I was to say who was my toughest opponent, it would be myself, because I was
Oh, fair
like,
play.
but the actual toughest opponent that I fought, you, you know, I'd probably have to go with. Probably have to go with none of them. You know, I don't
Oh,
think at
really?
the time Conor Benn wasn't my toughest opponent.
Okay.
O'Hara Davis wasn't. I mean, although it didn't last long, I had to do mad weight cuts for that fight. But I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff Saunders, you ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was we had a good tough fight, me and him. And actually I did go, I know I make a lot of excuses, but I did go in there with a bad rib, and he caught me in about I think it could have been the fifth or sixth round in the rib, and that was it, mate. I went down, but it was a good fight up until then.
Well, I'll tell you what, some of the things you've told me I've learned about you today, you sound like you're built of absolute steel to me. I mean, when you
Yeah,
look at
well,
some of those named opponents I just mentioned, I
yeah,
think like you should be very proud of your boxing career, getting in the ring with the names of them guys alone I've just mentioned. I think you should be very proud of your boxing career. So there's so many boxers that could only dream of getting in the ring with fighters like that. So you should give yourself a huge pat on the back for that. And I'm not just
I
bigging you up because
appreciate
you're on
that.
the
Thank
show.
you.
Yeah, I'm not just bigging you
Well,
up because you're on the show, but like I say,
yeah,
there's so many boxers that would love to get to that position.
yeah,
But the guy that I mentioned to you in one of those was Conor Benn.
yeah,
And I have got to ask you this. I just want
yeah.
your opinion. What do you think of the Conor Benn situation with what happened to him with the drug scandal and sorting it out with
Okay.
the British Board of
Yeah,
Boxing Control? What do you think of it all?
yeah. Well, when I boxed him, I mean, when I boxed Conor Benn, although I lost the fight, I don't think he was. I don't think he was that good when I boxed him, and he had quite a bit of power, but I'd
Yeah,
been hit. I'd been hit harder before, and I actually seen his shots coming, like where there's, if I box more talented people, I couldn't see their shots coming, like some, you know, and he was pretty novice to me at the time. And then obviously, you know, a few years went on. He was young, and then I watched him on TV, and then he's blowing these world level fighters away, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking, fucking hell, I'm thinking, he's really come on. He's actually a nice lad, you know, like he come up to me after
yeah,
the fight, asked me, am I okay? And I was like, yeah, I was just pissed off. And I think I've
yeah,
told him, like, oh, I made, you know, I fucked up for the fight and that, whatever. But
yeah.
I think, like, I've seen him, like, blowing these top level fighters away, and I did think, like, how has he gone from me fighting him and, like, I lasted a few rounds, and to blowing these top level fighters away, like, you know, that, is it Chris Algieri? He
Chris
blew him away,
Algieri, yeah,
like, and
yeah,
I mean, I thought, you know, I did think it was a bit strange, in my own opinion, to be honest, like blowing these
yeah,
fighters away, and then he's all of a sudden looks really big and that, like, you know, so,
yeah,
and then I think in his last few fights, he looks a bit smaller again, you know. But that's, I'm not accusing him of doing it, but
yeah,
I mean anybody, not Conor, or anyone in the sport who is taking drugs. I'm not saying Conor should be banned for life, because it's like,
yeah,
It's attempted murder. If you kill someone,
Yeah.
it
Totally get
is
that.
murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally
So
get that, and
yeah,
I respect and appreciate your comments on that.
but I'm not saying Connor has taken drugs. Like, to say it was like loads of eggs, like but he had too many eggs. I don't know, but it's none of my business. But anyone who's taking drugs in boxing should be banned for life.
Well, the thing
Definitely.
is, we can all as fans, including me, have our opinions and talk about, they should be banned and that. But when you actually talk to someone like you, who's been through the thick of it in the ring, to hear that, I totally agree with you. But, you
Yeah.
know exactly what it's like getting in that ring and fighting at
Yeah.
that level.
Yeah.
So fair comment to you for that. And final question to you really is, this last weekend, we've just had the farce of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. What is your opinion on do you have an opinion on the influencer type boxing, the misfits type boxing, the Jake Pauls, the KSIs? Do you have an opinion on it?
Well, to be honest, Jake Paul I believe, is actually a boxer now. Jake Paul is, anyone who's, famous in any other, area in the world, they can turn to boxing, which Jake Paul has. But I think, like, Jake Paul's picking his fights. He's picking the fighters when he knows they've had the day, he can beat them. But he didn't beat Tommy Fury, you know what I mean? And I believe if Tyson, people are saying, it's because Tyson's age, but I believe if Tyson would have lived a healthy lifestyle all his life and not gone on, because he went on weed, and I think he might have had like magic mushrooms and that, that's just zombified him out,
Yeah.
So I think it can be good if the fights are fair, because it's a business, isn't it? But they're not really fair fights when Jake Paul's he's got the power,
Yeah. Does it ever get you down knowing that what you went through in your career, to sort of like what Jake Paul, through his social media presence and everything he's done, to what he's earning now, to what you went through getting in tear-ups in the ring, to looking what he's earning in one fight? Does it ever piss you off or get you down or anything like that?
Back in the day, when I was boxing, it wouldn't have been nice to see that, for a boxer who's working and fighting in the ring and only getting paid like tiny amounts of money compared to that. But it's a business, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if people want to watch the fight, and he can sell tickets because he's a good YouTuber,
Yeah.
And so it's just business and what it is. But I'd just like to recap on something when you said, I work and I'm a tough lad, and I appreciate that. And I just want to put in there that 3 weeks ago, I fell off a roof and I fractured my lumbar vertebrae, my spine. I've got a compressed, stable fracture in my spine, and I was on the floor for about 15 minutes. I got back up and I finished the job, and it weren't until the next day I went to the hospital and found out I'd fractured my spine.
Chris, what are you made of? Seriously, what are you made
I don't
of?
know. Well, they call me the Truminator. I keep
Your
getting knocked down.
nickname is the Truminator, isn't it? So honestly, it's just ridiculous what I don't know what you're made of. But what are you actually doing in your life now for work then, if you don't mind me asking?
So I'm basically window cleaning. I'm taking over my dad's old work.
Yeah.
So I'm doing window cleaning and just keeping myself fit, mate. I'm just keeping myself fit, window cleaning. Got, some nice customers, which I enjoy going to work, and it keeps me fit. And I love going to coffee shops, mate, and having a chill and keeping myself fit. Yeah, training.
I was going to say, you deserve it. You deserve it. By the sounds of it, you've had a nice hot coffee after all your career and all the work you're doing, your broken back and everything.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Well, I've actually got a mint tea there. Just having a mint tea.
Well, I was just going to say, if you keep yourself fit and that. If
Yeah.
any YouTubers or any misfits come calling, would you be willing to get back in?
As soon as my back's better, I'm willing to get back in there.
Of course, when your
100%.
back's better, yeah.
Yeah. So, any of the YouTubers, mate, if you get this video out to them, I'm up for it.
Well, what I'll do is I'll tag you in this video, obviously on the X platform. We'll get this video out there. I massively appreciate you coming on today. It's been a really great insight into your life, into life of a pro boxer when you've been working as well. I really appreciate you coming on. So I think we'll end this interview at that, and I massively appreciate it and hope the back gets better and carry on grafting.
Cheers, mate. I appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Nice
Thank
one.
you.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Boxing fans, welcome to the brand new boxing discussion show. We search out a lot of boxing latest news, views, and gossip from the boxing world. We pull no punches. Press the button, subscribe.